Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 10.
It's heartbreaking when we spend so much time out here and, put in so much effort and try to keep these buildings maintained.
A beloved historic site has been the target of vandalism. Bonanzaville in West Fargo sustained some hefty damage after vandals broke into one of the buildings, opened water spigots, and released thousands of gallons of water.
What's left is a big mess and the challenge of how supporters are going to preserve aspects of the historical site. Valley News Team's Melanie Palmer tells us how the treasured site is planning to recover.
And we're going to go this way because that is nothing but ice.
The damage is expected to be significant.
There's so much water, 201,000 gallons of water goes in a lot of different places.
And the heartbreak left behind even greater.
It's very disheartening when something like this happens.
Missy Warren has been working at Bonanzaville for several years now. She knows this place in and out.
Sitting on the foundation of the school. It's made its way over to the courthouse.
And she tells us they don't know when it happened, but they do know the water was pouring out of spigots like this one for what could have been days.
Right now, we've got 4 or 5 historic buildings that are at risk of having that water just sitting there.
They believe someone hopped the fence behind the church.
And then over here, you can see where all the trees are.
And left them with this.
As a nonprofit, unexpected expenses like this really hurt us.
But they're hoping they'll come up with a plan to fix all this before it melts. And Warren tells us the community has been quick to give a helping hand, and some have already donated money. In West Fargo, Melanie Palmer, Valley News Live.
Warren tells us a damage estimate is difficult at this point. She also says luckily the area around the church has a strong grade, so they don't believe there's significant damage to the church itself.
One of the victims in a November stabbing says he feels like police are sweeping this case under the rug and helping a dangerous man get away with attempted murder. Corey Swift says on November 18th, an old friend got in his car, angry that his girlfriend was with Swift earlier in the night, and stabbed both Swift and his passenger. Swift was airlifted to Fargo and was later told by police that the man he claimed was responsible had been arrested, but then later released because there wasn't enough evidence. Police say it's still an active investigation, but with little to no communication from investigators, Swift says he begs to differ.
I don't believe they're investigating at all, to be honest with you. I think they just put the file in the back of their cabinet and they're hoping that I shut up long enough and it goes away.
If you have any information on the incident, you're urged to call the Detroit Lakes Police Department at 218-847-4222. If you need help uncovering an issue in your community, call our whistleblower hotline, and we'll do our best to get to the bottom of it. Call 237-6576 and leave your tip.
We're awaiting word on the name of the man whose body was found sitting in a car in Grand Forks. Officers found the body late this afternoon at 1200 North 47th Street, which is near I-29 in North Grand Forks. They believe that there's no reason that there is a threat to society, and they are not seeking any persons at this time. The man's identification is being withheld pending family notification.
We are about to say goodbye to the upper 30s and hello to the teens. Hutch, sounds like our nice break from harsh winter weather is over.
Indeed, it lasted all but a half a day. Remember, we woke up this morning with some very difficult travel conditions and ice across the valley. Right now, cool up north where we have 25 in the Devil's Lake Basin, still above freezing. In Fargo, though, at 33 degrees. To our south, the radar's picking up a few showers of light snow. Also moving out of Winnipeg, some light snow. This snow will be accompanied by some very gusty winds that will begin in the overnight hours, gusting to 30 now in Grand Forks. That will continue to spread. Also, those 30-mile-per-hour winds kicking around some snow in Langdon and Cavalier this evening. Gusty winds into your morning hour with temperatures that will still be in the 20s south, teens north. A chilly and very windy start to the day. I'll have details on how the rest of your Tuesday unfolds here in just a moment.
All right, thanks, Hutch.
A search has been called off for a man that police earlier said they were looking for regarding a stabbing.
The stabbing took place early Sunday morning around 4 a.m. in the 4300 block of Calico Drive. At that time, police were asking for help finding 20-year-old Penja Lawuya. Today, that all changed when the victim wasn't cooperating with the investigation. Valley News Team's Katie Opperly joins us to explain. Katie?
Mike, Andrea, on Sunday morning, police first responded to a domestic disturbance. Then shortly after, were called back to the same address to find a person stabbed in the chest. They later released a suspect description and mug of Lawuya for the stabbing. I did some digging and found out that he has a long criminal history with 24 charges listed on his record in 2018 alone, and a recent release from Rehabilitative Services on December 20th. But police say they are no longer looking for the suspect previously mentioned. I spoke with the state's attorney's office, and they say that victim compliance is a key element. They say in the interest of protecting the defendant's rights, if there is not proof beyond all reasonable doubt, that they should not be charged. So at this time, there are no charges, and officials are no longer seeking out Lawuya. The state's attorney's office also says for many cases, it comes down to the evidence officials have without victim compliance to determine if there will be charges pressed. But this leaves tenants from the apartment building where the stabbing happened concerned. Several people told me today they're anxious. No one is behind bars after the incident.
If they didn't press charges on the guy, then he's free to come and go here anywhere he wants, and I may be the next guy that he stabs. I think the police should still get involved and press charges on this guy.
It makes me afraid that it's happening right next to the apartment or to the people that live in this apartment. I mean, that's scary.
They say they don't feel safe, and they hope the people involved in this incident no longer have a place in their apartment complex. Andrea?
All right, thank you, Katie. While he's no longer wanted in this case, Lawuya is facing a felony charge for an unrelated crime.
A man who used his cell phone to record an incident at the Crookston Walmart has been banned from the store for a year, but not for that. The video shows Joshua Batts' phone being knocked out of his hands by a Walmart employee. Batts says he walked out of the store with a loaf of bread that he accidentally didn't scan. A Walmart employee confronted him and he wouldn't let her check his bags. As he recorded, the employee knocked the phone out of his hand. The case has since been forwarded to the Crookston City Attorney for possible charges.
Looking to raise a family? Well, there's no reason to move, as Minnesota and North Dakota rank in the top 3 states in which to raise a family, according to WalletHub. The personal finance website rates North Dakota #1 in unemployment rate, 2nd in separation and divorce rate, 4th in housing affordability, median family salary, and percentage of families in poverty, and 6th in childcare costs. Minnesota ranks 1st and Massachusetts 2nd.
Health experts say the most effective way to quit smoking is through medications like patches and pills. But those methods aren't available to the most vulnerable population, our kids. In the span of 1 year, the number of minors caught with tobacco products and referred to Fargo's tobacco education program has nearly doubled. And thanks to trendy technologies like e-cigs and Juul pens, teens are being exposed to more nicotine than ever, which can have permanent effects. While the technology to hook kids is evolving, treatments to help them aren't.
The things that are approved to help you quit by the FDA are patches, nicotine gum, nicotine lozenges. There's a nicotine nasal spray, there's a nicotine inhaler, and then there's a couple medications that can also be prescribed by your doctor to help you quit. Now those are for adults. You can't purchase them over the counter unless you're 18 years of age and older.
For now, a teen's best option to successfully quit is to go through their doctor for a prescription, but they'll still need an adult to purchase the medication. Meanwhile, the FDA is scheduled to have a public hearing on drug therapies for youth tobacco use later this month.
An 11-year-old girl is getting help from the United Way in Jamestown so that she can keep up on schoolwork as she recovers. The girl was struck by a truck while crossing the street last November in Jamestown. Members of the Jamestown United Way donated a laptop to Isabella Santorum for her to use. Isabella says she still has broken bones, but is looking forward to hanging out with her friends again without being supervised. A GoFundMe account for Isabella has raised over $6,000 so far.